Hey everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to Penguin Storytime. Today's first story is called A Weekend of Video Games. Let's dive right into it, shall we?
My family and I love the Halo series. Even now, when I turn on the Xbox and hear the beautiful music, it almost brings me to tears. So when Halo came out, we had to get it for my father. And we did. He was stoked, as he doesn't get to play video games much because of his work. He actually has a new job now that allows him more playing time. So he was playing the game, enjoying it and all that jazz when he has to go back to work. So, of course, it was my time to play. I was around 15 at the time when the game came out. I was playing the game non-stop, loving the graphics and the gameplay and just enjoying the experience. Well, one day, I stayed up until around 3 playing the game and I was almost done with it. My mum comes out and demands I go to bed as I had to go back to school in 2 days and couldn't mess up my sleep schedule. So I saved the game and went to sleep. That morning my dad jokingly told me, "Hey, you can't finish the game before I do. It's my game." Cue malicious compliance. So I didn't play the game for 5 years. My dad wanted to finish it first, so I was gonna let him. Well, recently my dad started asking about the game, such as did we lose it in the fire? We had a house fire back in 2016, lost a lot of stuff but not the game or the Xbox. Nope. I replied with a smile. Oh. Have you finished the game? How was it? I never did finish the game. I replied with a grin. He thought for a moment and I told him about his declaration. "Ah, I see," is all he said. "So y'all thought that was the malicious compliance?" No, that was the background. Here is where the true malicious compliance comes in. For 3 days, he has been playing the game non-stop and hogging the Xbox. He said, "Well, I've gotta finish the game so you can finish it too." The malicious compliance has been turned onto me and I'm regretting reminding him of his declaration. The next story is called New Policy. I've worked for a call center for about 10 years, worked my way up to management level. We've always been given a lot of autonomy to handle issues within our departments, so long as we document everything and follow established guidelines. I've always prided myself on being a good manager and having a low turnover rate. I try to take care of my people and give chance after chance for someone to make necessary corrections, but unfortunately, I do have to terminate employment somewhat regularly. About 3 months ago, my center got a new manager, let's call him Harry. Harry had plenty of call center management experience and looked great on paper. He had big ideas and wanted to help create a more positive and fun culture in the office. I'm all for it. The job is draining, especially for the representatives on the phones, so anything we can do to boost morale is a huge plus in my book. Straight off the bat, Harry was a bit standoff with me. I chalked it up to shyness, kept about my business, and figured we'd warm up as we got to know each other. I was incorrect. It may be important to note that while the office was without a senior manager, a lot of those responsibilities fell to me. I was the most senior and most tenured manager at the site, but I didn't want the site manager position on a permanent basis. Before Harry got there, any issues that needed to be handled fell to me. I was more than happy to step back and let Harry take the reins, but, of course, made myself available to assist during the transition. One thing my representatives will tell you is that I am strict but I am fair. If you mess up, I'm going to tell you and coach you on how to fix it, but I'm not going to be breathing down your neck. I enforce the same rules for everyone. If you're having a bad day, you can come and talk to me about it. If your car breaks down and you're screwed on transport, I'll adjust your schedule and try to help you figure something out. I truly understand that I can't do my job if I don't have representatives who are willing to come to work and do theirs. So I try very hard to support them in any appropriate way possible. On Harry's 2nd or 3rd week, we had a representative who had been a no-show for about 5 days. Our company policy allows 2 before termination. Because I knew of this representative's situation, I held off on the term and tried to reach out to make sure everything was okay. To be quite honest, we rarely actually term at 2. We usually give at least 3 before the term is processed, sometimes because it takes us until the 3rd day to catch it. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make contact. I knew he was physically safe and healthy because some of his friends worked there and told me he was just not answering us. I assumed that he had found another position and just not bothered to tell us. Not an uncommon occurrence, sad to say. I processed the termination as job abandonment on day 5. On day 6, he turns up and is surprised and angry that he can't log in. I'd let Harry know about the situation from day 3, and alerted him as soon as the representative came in on day 6. I pulled him into Harry's office and asked him if everything was okay, and why he hadn't been at work or called us in about a week. The following is a paraphrased conversation that we had. "We haven't heard from you since this date, and you haven't been to work since then. Because our policy assumes job abandonment after 2 no-call no-shows, we've actually processed a termination for you. I was busy. I understand that things happen. And I'm glad to know you're doing okay. But it's your responsibility to contact us if you're going to miss work. We even tried contacting you a few times before processing the term but never heard back. I got your message. I was busy. I'm here now. I understand. But again, we have to follow the procedure. We had no way of knowing whether you intended to return because you never contacted us. Your employment has been terminated. I have the termination paperwork that you signed available for you. I was obviously coming back. Let me just go log into my phone before I say something out of pocket. I'm done with this conversation. Unfortunately, you can't log into your phone, as you are no longer employed here. Here is your paperwork. From there, the guy got loud and started cursing. I remained calm and kept repeating that he was no longer employed and needed to leave. During this entire conversation, Harry said not one word. I eventually got the representative to leave. And as soon as he was out of the building, Harry asked to speak with me. The way you handled that was extremely unprofessional. You should have let him back. Now he's going to talk badly about us and we'll have a horrible reputation. What? I'm sorry? I'm confused. I followed the policy. I gave him the opportunity to show us he contacted us. He said he never did. We're supposed to term after 2. I gave him 5. But he came back. If this is the way you were running the center before me, no wonder your turnover rate is so high. You can't run people off. I was heated. First of all, I was running the site by myself for 3 months. It's 500 people. Secondly, I fail to see how someone else disappearing for 5 days and then not being allowed back constitutes me running them off. Thirdly, our turnover rate was lower at that point in time than it had been in over a year. I said, all right, I'm not sure how this situation is me running someone off, but fine. Please let me know which policies you'd like me to enforce and which ones I should ignore. And I walked out. Probably not the smartest move, but I needed to get out of that room. I took a quick break to control my temper and went back to my computer. Sitting on top of my inbox was a message from Harry to all management, effective immediately. All employee terminations must be cleared through Harry. Any manager who terminates the employment of a representative without proper authorization will face disciplinary action. This includes termination for job abandonment. Any write-ups must be performed with senior management as a witness. Cool. I got you, Harry. Cue malicious compliance. I had a stack of attendance write-ups on my desk that I had been planning to perform with another junior manager. I sent an email to Harry and requested 60 minutes of his time to witness write-ups with me. I have 108 employees in my department, about 20 needed to be written up. He asked for the documentation, which I provided. He then sent me an email that said, "These are not authorized. Request denied." Awesome. I moved on with my day. Now, Harry gets a bonus if all departments meet billable hours each month. I'm not supposed to know this, but being at the company for so long, I hear a lot of things I shouldn't because they forget I'm not an executive team member. It's my job as a manager of my department to ensure we meet those hours. What's the best way to ensure we meet billable hours? Hold people accountable for their attendance. What's the best way to hold people accountable for their attendance? Write them up for their excessive infractions, terminate the ones who refuse to resolve the issues, and replace with a new class. Harry just took the power away from me. We missed billable hours in September. In the first week of October, I requested another hour of Harry's time to review attendance with the representatives and perform write-ups. He denied it again. Our attendance was atrocious at this point, as they knew there would be no consequences for missing work. In October, we missed billable hours and didn't meet some of our contractually obligated service levels. So my company had to give a credit on the bill. Enter November. I request another attendance write-up meeting. I am again denied. I send an email with the representatives that have not shown up for work for over 5 days, some of them more than 10 days, and request to terminate them so a new class can be added. I am denied. At this point, the last week of November, our executive team is up in arms and wants to know why we've failed for the last 2 months and projected to fail this month. Harry has a meeting with them about how management, is creating a hostile environment and morale in the center is low. I am unaware of this meeting until I get an email setting up a call with our CEO and my direct executive manager, not Harry, to discuss my department. Remember, I've been here for 10 years. These people have known me since I was a teenager and know my work ethic and standards. What's going on down there? You guys have been missing numbers left and right. That's not you. I agree. We're having a major issue with attendance and haven't been able to fix it. It's affecting our staffing levels. What do you mean? You've been at a steady 108 since September. Are you scheduling correctly? Are you checking reports to adjust? Our official headcount is 108, but in reality, we're only at 84, with 10 of those working 20 hours or fewer each week. What? How is that possible? What do you mean? Why haven't you asked for an attrition class? I have been following the new policy that all terminations or new class requests must be approved by Harry. He has not given me approval for either. New policy? Yes, I can forward you the notification we received. I've requested terminations and classes so that we can report the true headcount and fix the service level issues. But I haven't gotten any requests approved. Please forward the notification and any communication immediately. We'll follow up with you shortly. I forwarded the email from Harry, and every time I've requested write-up meetings, termination approval, or new hire classes and gotten denied. The executive called me a short while later and asked me to give her a full rundown. She said she would take care of it. The next morning, all managers, about 20 of us, including the executive team, were invited to a mandatory meeting. We were told, in no uncertain terms, that any policy changes would come directly from the CEO. And that effective immediately we all had the authority to write up and terminate employees as appropriate. I was given the authority to request an attrition class immediately. Harry was asked, in front of all of us, to remain on the line with the executives while the rest of us got off. A short while later, the managers received emails that our bonus policy was changing. We would each be receiving bonuses based on meeting billable hours. Remember that bonus Harry was getting? They took it away from him and gave it to us. Guess who made billable hours for December? Every single department. Turns out, when you let people do their jobs and give them an incentive for doing it well, they care about the work they're doing. The last story is called Banking Compliance. So I work for a major bank in the United Kingdom, dealing with the giving of refunds for mis-sold payment protection insurance. Specifically, I'm on the team that deals with complex queries and unusual situations, as well as when the customer has further queries after we have sent our rejection or acceptance of their complaint. A few months ago, the part of our team that calls customers with issues that the normal call centers in India can't deal with was a bit short-handed, and as I'm one of the most senior team members, with knowledge of all the processes our team uses, I was asked to call customers to assist as I was having a slow day, and my productivity is high enough that I can afford to spend about 2 days a week doing other tasks if need be. Most of these consist of please explain why my redress payment isn't higher, or please can you run me through how you calculated my refund, with about 1 in 5 requiring specialist knowledge of a particular law or bank process. So, enter angry customer, henceforth known as Karen. Karen had been offered a hefty refund sum, around $3,000, and we were currently in the process of paying it. Karen had rung up to demand why she wasn't receiving over $7,000, as that was what all the adverts said. Apparently, we had deliberately lowered her payment because of reasons. She was kind of unclear. I explained to Karen that the adverts are misleading and that your average complaint handler has no control over the amount of money each customer receives, as things such as date taken out, the time the insurance was active and so on are all taken into account and fed through a calculation program, which gives us a figure. Apparently, I was lying. Karen demanded that I withdraw her payment and give her a new, more appropriate offer. I explained to the customer that we couldn't just withdraw an offer. And if she felt she was entitled to more redress, she could take it up with the financial ombudsman, who would review her case. Regardless of their decision, her payment would be going ahead. Karen wasn't having any of it and demanded I look at her files and personally pay her a bigger sum. Rolling my eyes, I humored her and did a brief scan of her files. What's this? It looks like Karen was declared bankrupt about 15 years ago, and both the initial contact team and payments had missed it. To be fair, it was kind of well hidden and your average employee wouldn't recognize it. For those who don't know, being bankrupt affects you for the rest of your life, as even when you're discharged, you just go into a less bad bankruptcy. The only way out is to pay back every last penny. Anyway, for the insurance, this means she is not entitled to any redress, and furthermore, isn't even allowed to make a complaint. Normally, the procedure, in this case, is to inform the customer that you will arrange for a colleague to call them back in an hour or so, and then to consult with the insolvency team. The insolvency team will then call the customer back to explain the situation, how it relates to their specific insolvency, and the steps forward. In this case, her offer would be withdrawn, and she would be told her available options. However, I run the insolvency team, and all complex insolvency queries go through me. This means I am authorized to proceed with the call as is. Karen is in the middle of another rant while I'm looking into this and is again demanding that I withdraw her payment and send her a letter with the amount she deserves. As said before, normally I'd run the customer through the situation and explain what their options to claim the money was. For Karen though, I apologized, polite as can be, and tell her that yes, I will be withdrawing her payment and sending her a letter detailing her new redress. Karen huffs and complains it took me long enough and then hangs up. I delete all of her redresses off the system, close down the payment memo, and then send the most bare bones withdrawal of offer, due to bankruptcy, letter icon. Normally, I fill in a lot of extra details so the customer finds it easier to understand and understands everything. They're rarely happy, but they understand why we have to take that position. However, we don't actually have to do that as per the procedure. Off goes the letter, first class, as the customer did seem like she wanted her new amount quickly. I congratulate myself on doing exactly what the customer wanted. Karen wrote in a few weeks later, whining. I ensure the item is routed to our team that reissues letters. This ensures that the exact same letter is sent out, along with a cover letter saying please find enclosed the requested information. After all, no point in writing a new letter when I've already answered the query once. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.